Okay, three, two, one. Welcome, curious minds out there. Tonight, I have a special guest. Goes by the name Robert Earl White, and he's a paranormal investigator. And the last time we spoke, we talked about triangle-shaped UFOs. We talked about aliens and all that kind of stuff. But now you're more into the paranormal. So, um, what caused the change?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes. So, hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back again. Last time it was an awesome chat. Like you said, we were talking about UFO crash my family had, all that good stuff, triangle UFOs. My mother was a contactee, all that good stuff. But yeah, what in the heck got me to the paranormal world? Well, the paranormal has always played a role in my life. When I was 3.5 years old, 1991, that's when the UFO crashed in my backyard. My mother was a contactee. On top of all of that, I had a lot of strange paranormal activity when I was just a baby. When I was 2 years old, my grandmother passed away, my great grandmother. And when I was born, she got me a teddy bear, a toy teddy bear. And you squeeze the hands and it starts to play music and it has batteries in the back.
Mhm.
And I used to sleep with it every night. But after my grandmother died, my mom noticed that as I was sleeping, I would roll onto the teddy bear and make the teddy bear start to play, and I would wake up in the middle of the night from the noise of the teddy bear. But my mom couldn't take the bear away from me because I would start crying and getting all upset because I wanted my teddy bear. So my mother took the batteries out of the teddy bear and she said, there, it won't play music. He'll get to sleep with it. He won't roll on it and make it start playing music. And then I won't have to wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So she takes the batteries out. The teddy bear continues to play every night, going off by itself with no batteries in it. And that's just one little example. And I don't even remember that was something told to me by my family as I was growing up. Then when I got older, yeah, I started to have a lot of different experiences. So yes, the extraterrestrial and UFO phenomena has always been there in my life. But so has the paranormal. It does seem that I've always just kind of been a beacon, like a lightning rod of like weird stuff for it to kind of happen around me. And for me, when it comes to paranormal investigations, right about in 2004, I was in 10th grade. 10th grade, I was still young, 15 years old around there. And the show Ghost Hunters came out. And that show blowed me away because I've always been interested in the paranormal. And I loved seeing team of like, okay, how would you go about trying to document paranormal activity? No one really had a method or like how it would even look. Like, what do you do? And it wasn't made like super public. Yes, there was paranormal teams doing this, like Ed and Lorraine and all that, but their methods were different. Like, how do you go in there? How do you use technology and equipment to try to document something we can't see? How do you communicate with something we can't see all the time? So I grew up watching that show and I got all the equipment and stuff and I started to do paranormal investigations. But I became a rock star. I was in a heavy metal band. I was touring and I was a screamer. Row, metal music, all this crazy stuff. Touring with Ice Nine Kills, touring with August Burns Red. We were on their record label. These were the bands we were going around with all sometimes. So guess what? I didn't have time for ghost hunting anymore. I was busy. And then the older I got with life, more responsibilities, more opportunities. I used to be a pastor. I went to Bible college,
Damn,
all
you did
that
it all.
crazy. Yeah, and then I lived in the Middle East for 2 years where I was an English teacher in the Middle East. I lived in Turkey, right on the Black Sea. That was amazing. I learned so much. I got to experience so much. And, as you're going through life, all these other opportunities open up, and you forget about what you were doing when you were that little kid. Your first true love. I was always interested in the paranormal. I just didn't have time to do it or the resources. So, long story short, after many, many years, this past year, I just went through a whole lot of really difficult things. I was the full-time caregiver to my grandmother who was bedbound on hospice, dying at home, 24/7 care for 5 months straight up until her last moment. And I went through a lot of other things as well. And after all of that, I just had this moment of clarity. And I said, I want to do something I love. I want to get out there. I want to see the world. I want to get out and meet people in the community. Life is short. Life is short. I want to do what I love. So I went back to that first love of mine, the paranormal. And I said, you know what? I'm going to buy a bunch of top-notch gear. I spent a lot of money. I'm like, I'm all in. I'm all in on this. So I spent a lot of money. I got a bunch of gear. I'm still getting gear. And I said, I want to grab my friend. I want to grab my girlfriend. And I just want to start investigating. And our very first location was the Seaview Hospital, the largest abandoned tuberculosis hospital on the East Coast in the United States. It consists of 37 buildings with over 3 miles of underground tunnels. And most of our investigation were in these tunnels. And everything was left behind. The electric shock therapy chairs, all the medical equipment, all the medical paperwork, all the pill bottles, all the x-ray machines, everything you could imagine left behind with asbestos, rust, and dirt about that tall on everything. And talk about your first investigation getting back into the paranormal. It broke me in real good. It was a wild, wild place. And then from there we investigated a few other places, and now it's just kind of sprouted into something. And now we got so many places lined up. It's like a waiting list. Like, we're booking all the way out until like February, March. And we have different events going on, and we're going to be doing more like public investigations where we allow the public to come investigate what we're experiencing at certain locations. But one thing I've learned about the paranormal, only a very small percentage of it is capturing ghosts. Like that's the last part of it. The biggest part is getting out, talking to people, listening to their experiences, networking, getting to know the owners of certain shops, houses, places, maybe places, a lot of the places I investigate no paranormal team has ever investigated. A lot of the times, I am the very first person to do a paranormal investigation at a place, and I love it because you don't know if anything's there. But if something is there, and you're the one that kind of come across it, so I love taking that chance. And when someone tells me about their paranormal story, I believe them. And then I go there to try to verify their claims. If someone says I saw this happen and I go there and I'm able to document that on camera, that really helps that person and I get some awesome paranormal activity footage doing what I love and helping small businesses, doing a lot of libraries, schools, things like that. And the most important thing, the history. We live in a world where many forget history. Many don't have an interest in history. They're not interested. And I feel like the paranormal is a great tool to pull people in to learn the history. And personally, my favorite thing about doing a paranormal investigation, as someone who absolutely loves history, I'm a history nerd, I love going to these old locations and having an opportunity to communicate with that history. I don't know why, but that blows my mind. That is one of the coolest things ever, and it's all behind that drive of helping my community, helping other people that are having experiences, and helping myself by the fun and the love I have for exploring the unknown. And, any sort of evidence I capture or get, in every video, you just hear me saying, thank you. I'm so grateful for, because I know sometimes, and it's weird, my whole entire life I've been to a lot of places, and sometimes nothing happens. You go to some places and there's just nothing going on. But I've been very, very fortunate that it seems to be that no matter where I go, there's something going on, which leads me to believe that everything has energy. Everything has energy. Everything is frequency and vibration. So I'm starting to kind of come to the point that even if you go to open field, a farm field, or a forest, no houses, no creepy buildings, that land has a history. That land has seen some things. And I just find it so fascinating to try to pick up on that, try to document it for the rest of the world to see, just to, open people's minds a little tiny bit more. But at the end of the day, I'm doing it because I love it. That's it.
That's the spirit. So I know you turned your back on the UFO and UAP topic, but I really do think that there's a connection. Thinking
Hmm.
about the Betty and Barney Hill case, they experienced, after their encounter, they experienced some, yeah, you could say paranormal stuff at
Yeah.
home or
Yep.
for over a few weeks or something like that. And it's not the only case. A lot of UFO, UAP experiencers, abductees, they experience paranormal activity after
Yeah.
their abduction or their sighting or whatever. I
Yeah.
think that's
Absolutely.
interesting. I think that's interesting. I think a lot of UAP UAP UFO sightings or encounters with beings, they aren't from outer space. I think they originate from here, from
Yeah.
Earth. And I think there's a connection between the paranormal as we see it and the UAP and UFO phenomena.
Absolutely. And back in the day when I was interviewing experiencers, one of my first questions would always be, what was the first experience you had that opened your mind to say that there's a lot more going on around you that you're not aware of? And these are people that are talking with ETs, being abducted by extraterrestrials, all this stuff. But I would always ask them that question. And oftentimes, like you said, it would be, I saw my grandmother 2 months as after she passed away. Every night I would always see a man wearing a hat standing at the end of my bed. There's all these creepy paranormal things, and these are people. And I think what it comes down to, in the words of our good friend Nikola Tesla, gotta love him, everything is frequency and vibration. Everything. Everything exists within that. And when it comes to the paranormal and UFOs exist obviously in different dimensional, how they're able to disappear, come in and out, extraterrestrials, even biblically, let's talk about angels and demons and all that crazy stuff. No matter what you look at, there is a parallel world running simultaneously at the same time as our reality right now.
Right.
Regardless of what religion you look at, ancient history, there's a lot going on that we are only aware of such a small part of it. And with the connection with extraterrestrials and ghosts, I believe it's just a tuning difference, a slight tune.
Yeah.
Maybe that moment when someone sees a ghost in their house, maybe for a slight second, the tune of the energy of that place just kind of slips through. And then with intelligent extraterrestrial life, it's intentional manipulation of musical tuning or vibrational tuning, where I think sometimes uh, the Earth has natural electricity, all right? The electromagnetic field on Earth. We know that certain kinds of Earth elements can hold energy. Coppers, limestone, quartz, can hold energetic properties. And sometimes in these areas, it can replay like a movie. In the paranormal world, they call it residual haunting, where it's nothing with intelligence. It's just something replaying. It's not there. It's just replaying over
Yeah.
and over the same thing every time. And then there's intelligence. And that kind of goes to the ET phenomena of them intelligently knowing how to change their vibration and frequency and some other things that aren't, like you said, are not extra out of Earth extraterrestrial. No, they're terrestrial. There are very old energies here on this planet that have been here longer than we have. And I think behind the scenes of what we can't see, I think there's a lot of people out there that are sensitive, probably more than you and I are. I've seen enough, but I haven't seen like the stuff I've interviewed people about and what they talk about and like hanging out with extraterrestrials and stuff. I never had that experience. But I believe certain people have, a higher tuning, and those people that are closer to that tuning of what ETs are and of what ghosts or paranormal or cryptids or, elemental energies and spirits that exist here on Earth, I believe those people, because they are of a certain tuning, may encounter those things more frequently. You know, it's that connection.
Yeah. You said some of these phenomena they are just replays, and some are uh,
Intelligent.
intelligent. So I always thought that I have a friend who is also a UFO uh, researcher, and he built this very cool and fancy camera system.
Hmm.
And he goes to hotspots and places these cameras there, and they are equipped with AI and stuff like that. But he barely records something. Sometimes a little glimpse. But what I wanted to say is that my honest belief is that the phenomena knows when it's recorded. Then
Yeah.
it knows when you want to record it. It knows when you want to observe it and when you look at it. And sometimes it just doesn't want to be recorded and you don't see it. Sometimes it maybe plays with us a little bit and you
Hmm.
record this little glimpse of it or a shadow or a blurry picture. And sometimes it wants to be seen.
Yeah.
Maybe just because, or maybe it has a deeper meaning. It wants to tell you something. And then we have stuff like uh, people think they get abducted. And when they are abducted, they get the message. Yeah, we all know the stories when aliens talk to people and say, you destroy your planet,
Mm.
no nuclear bombs and stuff like that. I think sometimes it wants to be seen, sometimes it doesn't want to be seen, and sometimes, yeah,
Which that shows intelligence.
right.
That's intelligence. And I think sometimes, and especially the paranormal, I think it's the residual, the lack of intelligence, just something replaying, and we just so happen to catch it. But I have had many paranormal experiences during investigations where it was definitely intelligent. When something's grabbing you, when something is answering your question spot on, when something's acknowledging you are there, that's always a good sign for us of intelligence. When something's just happening, but it doesn't seem to be aware of your presence whatsoever, I'm like, okay, that must be the house. That must be the land, the foundation of the building, the river, the stream in the backyard, just replaying, whatever has happened here over time.
So do you think sometimes the house or the place or whatever it is, maybe it could be a
Yes.
church or whatever, is just some kind of receiver who can
Yes.
receive the frequencies of from wherever?
Absolutely. And you go to sacred geometry and you go to, ancient architecture and how structures and buildings were designed to harness that sort of energy, and that plays a point which, as you were suggesting, are some of these places hotspots,
Yeah,
like a lighthouse, because they have that energy. Are they attracting all sorts of things, not just ghosts, but elementals, cryptids, extraterrestrials, Bigfoots, Mothman, whatever you want to call it. All right, in Germany, you have a lot of German friends. The Black Forest, that is a perfect example of a hotbed of UFO activity,
yeah,
a paranormal activity, and I know most Germans would be afraid to walk in the Black Forest at nighttime. I
of
I
course.
know I would. The stories I've heard from my German friends, I would do it, but I would be a little scared. And I believe something about that forest, that land has an energy that fuels whatever is going on in there. And it has such a rich history as well, on top of something that is there naturally. And who knows what it is, but everyone can agree that it's a mysterious place.
I often wonder why these places are what they are. What caused these places to be hotspots? I mean, of
That's
course,
the question.
there is a certain type of energy there, maybe, or whatever it is, frequencies, vibrations, call it whatever you want. But well, why? Why is this place a hotspot? And that's
Yeah.
interesting. And another interesting thing you said is some buildings are built the way they are, and then they attract stuff like that. Um, I've heard a friend here in Germany, and he said something interesting. He said, "Have you ever thought about that? Churches here in Germany, they're not only Germany, everywhere, I guess. They they are almost built like an antenna.
Hmm.
So when people are inside the church and praying, everybody's praying together. Uh, yeah, we send out these energies or whatever it is.
And the steeples, the points, at the top of them, it goes back to the ancient Egyptians and the obelisk.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It's all the same thing, and that's the whole point of it, to transmit that energy. For when I'm doing a paranormal investigation and something physically moves on its own, or we hear a voice or document a voice that's very loud and very clear, that takes energy. Everything takes energy in order to operate. And the amount of energy it would take in order to come through into our reality and our dimension, or vice versa, what is the amount of energy for you and I? What energy would we need for you and I to go to a different dimension? Think about that one. So how are they doing it? Like going back. So how are they coming in here? And this is why that energy is needed. That energy is needed for them to do something. And I believe in areas with higher energy, whether it's the rocks, the water, the architecture of the building or site, the history of that place, regardless of what it is causing that energy. I believe you will have higher amounts of paranormal activity there because you are supplying a food source. You are supplying the energy for the other to come over into our reality. Same with
May-
UFOs, you know?
Maybe, yeah. I think they're able to do these things because they are, yeah, in the state that they're in. A
They
quick
need
example.
energy. They have to have energy. You know, that's one thing we know for sure, how they're getting that energy, what is it coming from, and why are they able to do it and we can't?
Maybe the energy they need is where they are. I
That makes you think about our soul. What happens? The human body has 0.07% electricity in it. All right? Flesh, bone, blood, our brains, our hearts, they rot and they turn to dust and sand. What happens to that small bit of electricity in us when we die? Because energy's never destroyed. What happens to it? Is that what's going on? I don't know. I have not a clue.
I had an I had a out of body experience uh not too long ago. I
Hmm.
always do experiments with binaural beats
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
and yeah, I always lay down at night with my headphones on and I listen to these binaural beats and at one day out of the blue it just happened to be that I fell asleep for a few minutes, I guess. When I woke up my whole body was vibrating like
Oh, wow.
crazy. I wasn't moving or it was just the feeling that everything was vibrating. And I had the feeling that my knees were up, but they
Hmm.
weren't. My legs
Oh,
were
wow.
straight out. And suddenly I just let it happen and suddenly I yeah was able to leave my body, as they say. And I'm a skeptic. I always heard
Yeah.
in my podcast, like I said, I told you before, I had well over 1,000 episodes now, and a lot of people told me about their out of body experiences. And they told me similar things. And I always was like, yeah, great story, but I never experienced it myself. So what can I say? It's just a cool story for me, and I wish it were real. So and now I had my own OBE, and yeah, I really left my body. It happened 2 times, and after that, never again. Unfortunately, it happened never again. And but I was able to leave my body, and I was floating in a dark room, space, wherever,
Wow.
and I saw a diamond-shaped object that,
Hmm.
yeah, was with bright
What's
colors, purple and stuff like that.
what's interesting about what you just said, think about what you were doing when you had that experience. You were listening to binaural beats,
Yes, of
frequency and vibrational tones. So,
it was a vibrational state, of course. This is
are
what we're
these
talking about.
beings using vibrational state and tones? Is it maybe not like energy like the way we think of energy, like an outlet, AC, DC, electrical current? Maybe it's not that kind of energy. Maybe the energy is the frequency or the tone something is giving off. And you bring that up, and I think about investigations. And some of the most intense, mind-blowing paranormal activity I have seen has happened at times where there was some sort of loud noise going on. Like when my red REM pod device was really going off and going on our SLS camera, we caught an object touching the REM pod and making it go off in real time, and it almost seemed like it was trying to make it like by touching it, it was making it go off, but it was like it was trying to get it to stop. When I use a spirit box, which scans through radio stations very quick through radio stations. I use AM, not FM frequency. I use AM because there's less music, less chatter, and it goes through. I've noticed when I have that on, yeah, I get voices that come through, but normally when I have that on making that noise, there will be other paranormal activity going on. As if sometimes certain frequencies or tones can actually amplify paranormal activity. Maybe it's not like some investigators use Tesla coils to put static electricity in the air to fuel paranormal activity. I have a EM pump, which is a very small thing, and about a meter, it puts out electromagnetic electricity in the air to try to fuel paranormal activity. But what if we can use sounds? What if you have a better chance of producing paranormal activity by using a frequency or a tone? Which now that I'm talking to you about it, I think on maybe some of my future investigations, I might put on some tones. Maybe those tones will help me get closer to them or help them get closer to me. I don't know.
You should use binaural beats, maybe. Yeah.
I might why not? That's what paranormal, research is about. Try everything and anything. Try it all.
I've I think it's a would be a cool idea to go on a to a haunted place where maybe is a lot of activity and just lay down with these binaural beats on your headphones and try to reach a I don't know a
That would
meditational
be pretty
state or something like
scary.
that.
Who knows what would happen?
Cover your eyes and listen to the beats. Maybe have a person right next to you who takes care of you.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
happens, and just try to meditate and listen to the beats and maybe try to
Pick up on the energy of the place or the people,
yeah
the
or
the
have an
spirits.
OBE. Maybe you go step out
Yeah.
of your body and I mean that's crazy to step out of your body uh, in a place like that.
Yeah, because if you step out of your body and you're in a place that's haunted like that, you may be able to be in the realm, the universe of where the ghosts are. So you might actually be able to see them more in your outer body than within your inner body, which that would be a pretty cool experiment. I might definitely have to try that.
Or maybe play these beats through your speakers to attract
That's what I was
yeah.
thinking, making it loud, very, very loud. Really get everything vibrating.
Since you said that with the vibrations and stuff, I have a friend lives in Austria, and he
Mhm.
found uh, under an old house, very, very, very old house, he found this chamber, and he calls it the resonance chamber.
Oh wow.
And it's yeah, it's not, it's like a cave, not really big, but um, there's a spot in the middle where you can sit down. And there are tubes inside the walls and everything. They're just, I don't know how they did it back then. And we don't know who did it and when they did it. We don't know nothing about it. We just know it's pretty old. It's very old.
It's
And,
like
but the,
a resonator chamber, you
yes, and
know?
it's completely, yeah, carved inside the rock and stone
Wow.
below the house. But the house came later. The chamber was there already. Like,
The house was built on the old chamber,
yeah,
which
many, many
yeah,
years later. And
that's
the
interesting.
thing is, my friend, he's a musician. He plays guitar, he plays harmonica, plays everything, sings and everything. And he found out by accident when he was inside the chamber. He didn't know what it was. He thought it was just some yeah, was just there for nothing. But he found out um, if you produce a sound in this chamber, a certain sound like throat singing, he can throat sing. If you do
Mhm.
throat singing or a deep tone, everything starts to resonate and vibrate.
Oh wow.
And you too. And you too. So,
Like singing bowls. You know the
right.
singing bowls? Um,
Yeah.
I've done things where I've laid down and I've had seven singing bowls. Like you lay down on the floor and you're surrounded by people playing singing bowls. You feel the vibration come out of you. That's what this
This
cave
that's what this cave
does.
is. And since we don't know how old it is, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 1,000 years old. Oh, let's say it's 3,000 years old. It doesn't matter. Who built it and for what reason? And how did he know that this works?
Yeah.
And he said you can sit inside the chamber, you can meditate, and you can hum, you can whatever,
Hmm.
and everything vibrates.
Oh, that's cool. Like imagine if it was like a portal, like you go in there and
Exactly.
you hit a certain octave or a note, or something like that, and you vibrate
You're gone.
to like an outer body experience or something like
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's wild.
Some people said maybe a portal is opening or something if you do a certain tone,
Yeah,
but I said no, I don't think so. I think that it just helped these people to reach.
it, inner work.
Yeah, to
It
get it.
it's us work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Wow,
very
that's
interesting. Yeah,
that's a really cool basement. I wish I had something like that in my basement.
yeah, that's awesome, awesome, awesome place, awesome place, and yeah, he's doing his research, but I don't know how far he is. If he found something else, but there was nothing inside back then. He didn't find anything like artifacts or no,
Yeah,
there was nothing.
just the chamber.
Just the chamber, yeah. And in
Must
the
be
middle, in
old.
the spot where you sit, is a circle, a stone, a rock,
Carved, c-
a
carved
carved.
out.
Yeah,
Yep. So you could sit there. Yep.
yeah. So I think that's the reason people sat there and yeah, were meditating.
Yeah. I wish I had something like that. But yeah, with the paranormal stuff, yeah, some of the places we've been, some of the activity, especially some of the voices we've heard. They weren't EVPs. This wasn't on like a digital recorder. Some of the voices we've picked up, we did not hear with our own ears, but multiple cameras heard it. They have echo, they have reverb, and all of this. And it's so weird that you can hear a voice so loud, but you're right there, and hear absolutely nothing. And they call them like disembodied voices because you're not getting it like in the audio of a tape recorder. You're recording this on multiple cameras. So it goes back to tone and frequency. Like how does a voice come through on three different cameras? It's crystal clear, but we were standing right there and we didn't hear nothing.
Hmm.
Like how's that possible? And it goes just like our eyes, we are only able to see a very small thing. I think with our ears, hearing, I think we only hear a very small thing. I think we smell a very small thing. I think there's a lot more going on around us
Right,
other than what we see. It's
right.
what we hear, what we smell, probably what we taste. Who knows?
I have a friend and she did paranormal investigation too. And one time we were chatting on the phone,
Hmm.
text messaging, and she said, "What you doing right now?" I said, "I'm sitting in the bathtub right now, having a bath." And she said, "Record. Run your hand through the water and record." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Just do splashing sounds. Run your hand through the water back and forth, and record it." I said, "Why?" She said,
That's weird.
She said, "Yeah, trust me. Let's do this." And I did it, and I sent the file. And she sent me a file back, and she said, I slowed it down, and I did this, and I did that, editing stuff like that. And I heard voices, and I said, "What the fuck?" So she's working with these EVPs too, EVP stuff, and she said, "Yeah." Sometimes she just turns on the water in the sink and records it.
It's because white noise. It's
Yeah.
the sound, the frequency of running water, and water is a conductor. That actually makes a lot of sense. It goes back to having some sort of noise. Like I said, when I have my radio scanner on, or when I have a device that's going off a lot and making a certain beeping sound, it seems to really feel stuff or running water. That's a great idea. You know, um, that's a good one. I'll have to try that sometime.
Yeah, she sent me the file. I don't have it anymore. I would play it, but I don't have it anymore. It was a few years ago already. But it said something negative. I don't remember what it was, but it was negative. And I said, now I feel a little bit uncomfortable sitting in my bathtub from now on.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's kind of like the white noise generator.
mm,
The color noise. There's brown noise, blue noise, pink noise, white noise. I wonder if using them would help because I know in a lot of paranormal equipment, like the radio scanner, the channels going that kind of creates a white noise. A lot of the paranormal apps on the phones they'll have a white noise as it's sweeping or going over things, listening within that white noise. It kind of seems to help. So I've just never thought about a running water or a running sink, but that's natural. The sound of running water is a natural sound of Earth, you know?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, she said she does it all the time, running
Yeah.
water and recording, or go through a river and record there. And
Oh
she
wow.
always gets interesting results. I told you I'm skeptic. I don't know what to think about it,
Yeah.
but maybe there's something to it. Why not? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
if if dead people are somewhere, they're all around us. I
It's
guess they're
true.
everywhere. You can you can go everywhere, and
Oh, excuse me. Ooh.
somebody died
Yeah.
there. I mean, I live in a very old house. Our house is from it was built 1860, I think.
Okay, nice.
And I'm
1860.
yeah, I guess a few people died in here too back
Mm-hmm.
then. I guess so. I had a paranormal investigator here a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
He did his stuff, but there was nothing. And I
Oh.
said, maybe you did something wrong, or I don't know. But because I'm
Well,
sure people died in here, I'm sure.
that doesn't mean that nothing is there. That just means he did not document anything, which, you can only get so much when I go to a place, it's for one night, one night. Oftentimes, people's paranormal activity in their houses may happen once a year. They may have something very spooky or strange happen. So the odds of documenting that, you can't investigate somewheres and say this place ain't haunted. The only way you could say a place isn't haunted is if you spent like 60 years with equipment constantly rolling nonstop, because that's an old house and it has history. And if you've had experiences there, you can't really rely off of, someone just coming there for, one day and investigating. And, that doesn't mean there's nothing there. Just nothing has been documented yet.
Yet W-
Yet.
we had experiences here, and I tell you about it in a minute. Um, the the first thing that happened here is it was I think 3 years ago. Yeah, I was sitting here and I got up and I went to the kitchen. I had a glass of water.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to go upstairs to the into the bedroom. But it was a strange situation because I didn't turn the lights on. And when I went upstairs, I got in the bed. And when I laid down, when my back reached the bed, when I laid down, it was like snap. And I was sitting in my bed. And I thought, What was that? Am I dreaming? Was I dreaming? Did I really go upstairs now? Or was I in the bed already? And
Oh,
I had to think for a few minutes and then I came to the conclusion that I was in the bed already for maybe an hour or so.
wow.
It was like a dream, like a strange dream.
You weren't up and walking around and stuff like
No,
that.
I wasn't, but it
Oh,
felt
wow.
as real as we're talking right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Vivid. Vivid.
And then I had on another occasion, I had an encounter with some strange shadow
Okay.
in the hallway here in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I got up here from my desk and I got outside and in the hallway, at the end of the hallway, I saw this shadow and it looked like a man.
Yeah.
And I was scared a little
Yeah.
bit. And I went upstairs really fast and went to bed. And also, when I was in the bed, I also sat in the bed and thought, did this just happen or I don't know. Also, same strange feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Did this really happen or was it a dream? But then I thought, if if there was a shadow, I would never go upstairs and go to bed. I have kids in the house, my wife in the house, my dogs in the house.
You
I
would
would
be
grab I
freaking
would grab
out.
my baseball bat and go for it. So
Yeah.
it had to be something else, some kind of strange dream, or maybe it was an OBE. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. No, it was strange. And another thing was I went upstairs. It was maybe 1 o'clock in the night. I washed my hands and I closed the door and turned the key around because we have kids. We always turn the key around,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
because yeah, we lock the doors. Um, but suddenly the door handle went down and up, snap,
Oh,
snap.
wow.
And I
And the
thought it was
kids
my
were asleep.
yeah.
Kids were
Everybody was asleep.
asleep.
Everybody was asleep, and I thought it was my daughter.
Oh,
So I the sink is here. The door is right there. I just have to
it
lean over and open it.
unlock the key and then
Yeah.
open it. Yep.
And we're washing my hands, and I made like this, and I turned the key around, opened the door, and there was nobody.
Oh,
I went out,
oh.
I went outside,
And
went to
you were
my
not in bed sleeping for that one.
no, no,
Yeah.
and I
Wide
checked every
awake.
room. I checked my daughter's room, and she was sound asleep. She was
Yep.
asleep. And I went to my stepson's room, and he was laying in bed snoring. And I went to the master bedroom. My wife was in bed. The dogs were in the bed with her, and everybody was sleeping in the house. Everybody was
Yeah.
sleeping like
So
people
that's a
sleep.
spook. That's a spooky one. That's good. And with the shadow man, the shadow figure, what we've documented surprisingly quite a few shadow people. Quite a few.
When you say
Um,
documented, you mean
on
on camera?
video.
Oh yeah,
On
on video.
camera.
Oh,
So my paranormal team, it's Paranormal Unearthed. I'm also working for, and with Jersey Unique Minds Paranormal Society. I've been doing investigations with them, but my channel is Paranormal Unearthed. And our very first episode, Seaview Hospital, the large tuberculosis hospital, we were down in the basement and there was an open door behind me and we were investigating and we had three cameras going and one camera was looking at me. I had a camera and directly behind me in the doorway, and there's nothing there. This is underground. It's a foundation. You see a very, probably up to my ribs, like my hips. I'm a very tall guy, but I would say like maybe child size, or a very small man, and you see a shadow person walking behind me through the doorway, and just for a couple steps. Then in the Wildwood Sanatorium, which was in New York, it was also a tuberculosis hospital. We investigated there. That was the second episode. So that's our second episode on there. And I was down in the basement of this place where they did a lot of therapeutic battery baths, like different kind of baths, hot water bath, cold bath, all that good stuff. They had an embalming table down there, wild place. I was down there and I was getting a camera. Everyone else was upstairs. I was grabbing a camera, and our equipment started going off. And I was down there completely by myself. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not liking this. I'm down here by myself. I was just trying to find my camera. Like, you even hear me say, I'm just looking for my camera. And as the equipment's going off, I felt something pull the back of my shirt collar. Felt something pull it up. We had another camera that was recording night vision, black and white camera, and you see me. And after that experience happened, there was a black shadow person running away from me. So after I got pulled and I was freaking out. My girlfriend came running downstairs. They were like, "What's going on?" Because I was freaking out. I'm like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Oh shit!" Something just grabbed my neck. So they come down there, but right before that, we actually documented this shadow figure. I mean, quick, fast, running across the basement and going right into a wall. Like, doesn't even make sense. And then our our third video, we documented a shadow being, person, something or another in this attic that was very, very, very haunted. This whole entire town that I'm working with, Greenwich, New Jersey. My latest episode, we just did an old market. It was the oldest running market store in the United States in the 1930s. It was built 1773. Very, very old place, especially here in the United States. Not as old as some of the places in Germany, Austria, and the UK, but it was mind blowing. But no shadow person there. So in total, we've caught three different kind of shadow beings.
Wow. I wonder what these are. I had
I
a
don't know.
had a podcast with this pretty big guy. He was in a biker club. He was a biker. He was a very big guy, like a bear. Big guy, big beard, long hair, and he wanted his face to be blurred for the episode because he was afraid one of his biker buddies might
Make
recognize
fun
him.
of him.
Yeah, make
Yeah,
fun of him.
yeah.
But he wanted to tell us his story, and he told us that he's living in this pretty big house with his mom. His dad had died already many years ago, and one night he was in his room, and his mother was in her bedroom. The dog was, I don't know, with him or with his mother, I don't know. And he heard ticking sounds on the floor, like like he
Tick,
he
tick,
said.
tick, tick.
At first he thought it was his dog with the
Yeah.
with the claws on the
Nails.
yeah
Yep,
on,
yep.
on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But then he thought, it sounds different. I know my place, and I know that if you live in that house, you know all the sounds. He said, if you hear, he said, I can hear if my mother comes up the stairs or my brother or whatever. You can hear that
Yeah, when you live somewhere, you're
because yeah,
familiar with the sounds your
yeah.
house make. Yeah.
And he said this ticking sound was different, and it came closer to his room, and he was scared already a little bit. He was younger back then. Like I said, now he's a pretty big, tough guy. He was younger back then, and he said this sound came closer and closer. Is there some kind of animal in the house? Like, I don't know, came through the window or what? But he was facing the door, laying on his side in his bed. The room was dark, just a little bit light from the outside, from the moon. And he saw this strange figure or being coming to his room and standing next to the window.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even look at him. But I said, how did it how did it look? Describe it. And he said, don't make fun of me. It looked just like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
It was
That's creepy.
like a hunched over. It
Yeah.
was small. It was small, like he said, maybe a meter, something like
Yeah.
that. 90 centimeters, a meter. It was very small. He could barely see it, but it was human like. It was not just a shadow, it was human like.
Yeah.
And
The
he
outline
said,
of it.
I thought I lost my mind, but he never thought something like that would happen to me. Or And he said, yeah, it was there. And then he turned around. He was scared, put the blanket over his head, and yeah, when he turned back around a few minutes after that, it was gone.
Yeah, because I would say, well, the one I'm thinking about the shadow, the one we caught in the hospital, that one was short. That one was shorter, like I was saying, like kid size. Um, the one we caught up in the attic, it actually changes height as it's moving. Sometimes it's like that big on the camera, like a good normal size, and then sometimes it goes down real small. And the one that we caught in the basement of the Wildwood Sanatorium, that one, when it was running, it was it was like the shadow was like on its side. Like you see it, but it wasn't like a shadow straight up. It was like a shadow kind of like sideways. Imagine someone running and you're le you're running sideways.
Oh,
Crazy
creepy.
stuff. Yeah, but yeah, so they definitely have the capability to change their shape and their sizes. Now, to the shadow figures I've seen, the guy you were talking about, he could really describe it. Like there was more detail. With with these shadow figures, I've blown them up when watching the video. I've zoomed in, I've put filters on them, negative filters, hoping I could see something a little bit more, but you really can't make out. It just looks like a faint shadow. It just looks like a shadow that shouldn't be there.
Huh.
It's strange.
It's very strange. Another good example, I interviewed this older lady. I don't know if she's still around, but I think so. Um, but she contacted us because she was seeking help. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I, we or I can't help you because we're just doing interviews and stuff and podcasts, but I can, I would love to hear the story. And she said everything started with her laying in bed one night and she had the feeling somebody was under her bed and kicking the bed from the downside. And she was,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Something
bumping around.
kicking it.
Yeah, she was bumping around in her bed and she was very, very scared.
Yeah.
And
I
it started everything. And from this night on, every night she had strange encounters. She saw people walking through her apartment all the time.
Oh
Children,
wow.
like policemen.
Where was she from?
She's here from Germany, from
Germany.
yeah,
Okay. Oh
and
wow.
she had all nurses, all kind of people were walking through her apartment, just walking, looking at her, and walking. Not
Oh,
they were not angry with her or something like that. They were
just passing by.
just passing by, passing through the
Oh,
apartment almost every night. She said, "I'm going crazy. I don't want this anymore." She said, "I don't." And she contacted a ghost hunter team, and they came to
yeah,
her house. And it was a very experienced ghost hunter team, and they put up a camera next to her bed,
yeah.
pointed it at her bed. And the next day, she said, they came back. The camera, of course, was broken. The battery was broken. There was nothing on the tape, and the battery was broken.
Oh my
But
gosh.
the really weird thing is, I mean, that can happen. Who knows what happened? Maybe it's
Yeah,
just
technology.
technical issue. I'm not saying it was the ghost, but maybe it was ghosts. I don't know. But
That's why you use 10 cameras. We do.
but
Y-
this
Yeah.
wait. The strange thing was, in that night when they took the camera and
hmm
left, that night she saw another. She said a man um standing in front of her bed, looking at her, very aggressive, like very very aggressive. And he pulled up a camera and took a picture of her, and then left. Just as it was like she said, it was as if he wanted to mock me because of the camera thing.
You want to record us?
I can
I'm
record
going
you.
to record you. Oh wow.
Yeah, that was, and she
That's
said
freaky.
she saw these guys all the time. One time, she went. She had to go to the hospital for a few weeks. There was an issue with I don't know a back or a legs. I don't know. She was in the hospital, and they followed her to the hospital. She saw them in the hospital too. So it was not
Oh,
bound to her apartment or to
it's
the
not her
building.
place, it's
It was
her.
her. It was her. So I don't know if she just
Uh,
saw them, if it's I don't know if it's a psychological issue maybe, or if they were really there. I don't know. I don't know. Could be everything.
her ancestors, it could be her family members, generational following her around, or
Maybe
I've noticed that,
hallucinations maybe. I don't know, but it was
yeah,
a very interesting story.
yeah, and I've some of our investigations, that's been a common theme where the house isn't haunted. The person is. Like people can be just like a house can be haunted, a land, a rock, land, a forest can be
Yeah.
haunted. People can be haunted too. And I believe that each individual person, we all of us, every human being there is, you know, we have DNA. DNA is very powerful. There's very little that we know about DNA. And what if somewhere's in our DNA, you know, we, well, this is scientific. We literally have pieces of our ancestors within our genetic code. It's there. So that's one physical way that we're connected with our ancestors. And I'm Native American, okay? So like in my culture, being connected with our ancestors, it's just common knowledge. And I like to believe that every human being on this planet has an entire army, you know, so many of their ancestors that are still with them. I think we all have our own ghost or what people call guardian angels, that are watching over us and making sure we're not messing up too bad.
I think you should go if you ever come to Europe again. You should go to Romania and visit the haunted forest Hoia Baciu. Have you heard about it?
No, I have not heard about that one.
It's a very very interesting spot. I think the story starts many many years back, of course, with a shepherd who went into this forest with. He wanted to pass the forest with I think 100 sheeps, and he disappeared, and all the 100 sheeps disappeared too. He never came
Oh,
out of the forest again. So this is where the story starts, and then yeah, there's a lot of stories.
and the hunter sheep disappeared too.
They didn't found a single sheep again. No,
That's
they were
weird.
they were all
That's
gone.
weird.
And
Mm.
people went into the forest, and they had some people. Yeah, right after a few minutes, they get a really bad feeling. They get sick. Um, they get nauseous and stuff like that, and they are scared, and they have to go out again. And the trees are growing really strange in this forest. Let me show you a picture of the forest real quick. Can you see it?
Oh, wow.
This is how the trees grow in this forest. Yeah,
No. That that's wild.
that's wild. Has to do have I don't know if it's energy or I don't know why they or maybe because of the light. I don't know.
Like ice a long time ago of frozen tundra or something like I don't know, but that's weird.
I know that trees can grow like that for some
That's
reason,
crazy.
but
I've never seen anything like that. And the whole forest is like that? All of it?
big parts of it
Oh,
are just like
wow.
that. Big parts of it. I can give it a name after the show, and you
Oh,
can
yeah.
Google it. I think there's information in English out there about this
Yeah.
forest.
And
Yeah.
speaking of forest, in October we investigated the New Jersey Pine Barrens, which is in my backyard. The Jersey Devil. We went out there
Hmm.
looking for the Jersey Devil late at night, miles and miles in. We found an old mill village from the 1700s, completely abandoned. a couple chimney stacks that were still there, a few old limestone foundations like in the ground, overgrowth of the forest. And we didn't find the Jersey Devil, but we did make like spirit contact and stuff. It was pretty wild. Out in the middle of the forest, no electricity anywheres around. We were back far, and we had our devices that pick up on electromagnetic fields going off like crazy, direct responses, really cool stuff like that. And no Jersey Devil, but there were coyotes, and we did get surrounded by coyotes, and we just kept on going, and we went like in a big circle, and then we got out of there. But it's pretty spooky when you're in any forest at nighttime, and it it's a lot of fun and spooky.
It is spooky. I I don't think I had a lot of, yeah, let's call it paranormal encounters in my life. I told you a few before. I never thought about it again. Like, I don't know, I can't explain,
Yeah.
so why break my head over it. But I remember when I was a child, and I think I was 9 or 10. I was in my room, and it was late at night, and I couldn't sleep. I was listening to my on my Walkman. I was listening to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I remember that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, still a big fan, and was listening to my cassettes. And when the tape was over, I put it away, and I was lying in bed on my back and staring at the ceiling, and thinking about some things. And suddenly I heard breathing coming from the corner of my room where my
Oh,
wardrobe was. There was the
that's
wardrobe,
nice.
and on the other side there was the window, and it was the moon shining through my window, like really
Hmm.
spooky. And I heard breathing coming from that corner. It was like as if somebody was sleeping,
Okay.
like very
Yeah.
peaceful sleep. And I was listening closer, and I thought, oh yeah, there's somebody breathing. That's strange. That shouldn't be here. And I heard breathing, breathing, breathing. Oh, and I put a blanket over my head, and every 10 minutes or so I lifted it, listening. Breathing still there.
Oh,
And it
still there. So
was
this
still
went
there.
on for a while.
Well, I would say at least an hour,
Oh, wow.
at least.
Wow.
And I always thought I wanted to get up and run through the door, go to my parents, but I was scared to get up. So I decided to stay in bed. And
Yep.
the next day, um, I told my neighbor, my best friend, he was as old as me, and I told him, and he was just laughing at me, and he said, "You're stupid, you're crazy. There is no ghosts and stuff." And I said, "I heard it, man, I heard it. Believe me." And he was just making fun of me. And I think 3 or 4 days later, I told my mother,
Yeah.
and instead of telling me it was nothing and just relax, she said, "Oh, maybe it was your grandmother. She died in that room many
Oh,
years ago."
really?
I said, "What the fuck? She died in there?" She said, "Yeah, she died in there. But you don't have to be scared. She was very peaceful, and she's very lovely lady."
Yep.
And I was thought, that doesn't help. And the strange thing is, I have no memory. Let's say I was 10.
Yeah.
My memory starts thinking back now. My memory starts again when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
I have no memory from after that night until I'm 13. No memory.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Maybe my brain tried to protect me. Maybe there was another incident, and my brain just don't want to let me remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no memory of the nights after that.
And it seemed like when your mom told you that, oh, it's probably your grandmother, she passed away there, trying to comfort you, it seemed like that scared you. And
Yeah.
when I was younger, the the teddy bear story, that was my great grandmother's gift. When I was older, I was right around 13, 13 years old. I was younger, but it was wintertime. It was snowing. This is probably one of the scariest paranormal encounters I've ever had. And I woke up, I was feeling sick, and I told my mom and dad, I said, I can't go to school today. I'm not feeling good. They're like, go ahead, stay home. There was snow outside. It was a very cold day. So I stayed home from school. My mother, my stepbrother, my stepsister, and my stepfather, everyone went to work and school. I stayed behind. I put TV on. I was sitting in the living room, and we had our living room here, and then right here was like the kitchen. So living room, a dining room where we had a table and we would eat, and then the kitchen. And it was a newly refurnished kitchen with all new cabinets on both sides. Cabinets over here, cabinets over there. So I'm watching cartoons. It's around 10 o'clock in the morning, and I start to get hungry. I'm a little kid. So I go to the microwave. I take a hot dog. I put a hot dog in the microwave. I get a paper plate, and that was like my lunch, whatever. I go back to the couch. I'm eating my hot dogs. I get done eating my hot dogs. I stand up and I walked to the kitchen because right on the corner we had our trash can, and I was going to throw away my paper plate. As I'm throwing away the paper plate and looking down, I look up and every single cabinet door, all of them, perfectly opened. Per-
Okay.
perfectly. Not like this, not like that, not like that, not some closed, not some open. Every single cabinet was perfectly straight out to the point where it felt like the cabinets are going to touch me. Cabinets on the right side, cabinets on the left side, the bottom cabinets, the top cabinets, the silverware where you keep your knives, forks, that little out. That was out. Every cabinet. The phone right above the trash can where I threw away the paper plate was our house phone, and it was wireless. And I grabbed that phone, and I only had underwear on. In my underwear. No, no socks, no shoes, just my underwear. I go outside in the snow. The kitchen, there was a back door with a glass door. I stepped outside and I called my mom at work. And I said, Mom, you have to come home. Get home now. I'm not going back inside. I'll tell you when you get here, but I need you to come home. I didn't tell her what happened. I knew she wouldn't believe me. So I stood out there freezing, freezing, and I made her stay on the phone with me. So I finally hear the car roll in. I hang up the phone. She comes inside. I still did not go in. My mom walks in and she goes, Well, that's strange. And my mother starts to shut all the cabinet doors. Once my mother shut all the cabinet doors, I finally came inside and I'm like, You're not going to believe what happened and stuff. She didn't know this. I didn't know this. It was the 1 year anniversary of the day my other grandmother died. She died 1 year prior on that exact date. And we only found this out because when my mom was telling my grandmother what happened, my other grandmother, it was her mother that passed away, and she said, when she used to get angry and stuff like that, she would always slam cabinet doors and open them and stuff like that. So it kind of goes back to, that same situation where you were saying your mother said, "Oh, it's probably your grandmother" and stuff. It was the same situation, but that actually brought me comfort because that cabinet thing really, really scared me. And then once I thought, well, it's my grandmother, I don't know. It kind of that helped me not be as afraid for
Wait.
sure.
That's some poltergeist shit, man.
No, it was scary. So like hearing that it was my grandmom and not like something evil, but it was just creepy because it was like the cabinet doors were like reaching for you,
Yeah.
trying to grab you. And I've never seen something so perfect. You know how when something's too perfect, it's strange? Like you and I could not open those cabinets that straight. I'm pretty sure if you had a level and you put a level on it, that little air bubble would have been right in the middle. It was perfect. I've never seen anything like that. I still haven't seen anything like that. Not even doing paranormal investigations. That was a spooky one. But once I found out it was grandma, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Do it
May
again, grandma.
Maybe it was grandma. Who knows? Maybe.
It, you know, it, you know, that's the thing. It could have been anything. I don't know. I know at the time it was nice to believe it was my grandmother because if it was anything else, I would have been terrified. Spooky.
Sometimes I think when I hear stories like that, I think if it's really grandma, why would she do such a thing? If she has
Just,
the power to straighten out all these uh, kitchen doors and stuff and everything, why wouldn't she use that power to pat you on the head like she did when she was still alive, or
yeah,
touch you
something
in a way
nice.
she touched you? Sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. Touched you
Yeah.
as she like just like she touched you maybe on the chest or on the shoulder,
Or I
just like
hear her voice and
yeah,
she's saying, I love you, Robert.
yeah.
Like something kind. Why? That was one question I always had.
Why
Why
scare
do
you?
something? Because you know it would scare. And my other grandmom, which was her daughter, she was under the impression why they thought it was my grandmom because when she would get upset and stuff like that, she would go around with all the cabinets. Everyone forgot
Oh,
it was
maybe.
the anniversary of the day she died. We all forgot. I didn't know it was the anniversary. My mom didn't know it was the anniversary. And even her own daughter didn't know it was the anniversary until my mom called talking about the cabinets. Almost like the cabinets was a reminder of like, hey, I'm dead. It's only been a year. Maybe. Or it could
Yeah,
have been something else. At the end of the day, I did not see the cabinets come open. I did not see what how they were open. I didn't see what opened them. I was watching cartoons in the living room. It's all open. I did not hear anything. I heard absolutely nothing. So all of it happened completely silently, which is strange. So there's no telling. I didn't see what was doing it, how it did it.
yeah.
I didn't.
Gotcha.
I just walked around that corner, throw my paper plate away, and like out the corner, whoa, 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 grabbed the phone and I ran outside. I was not having it. I was pretty spooked out and I was sick. I wasn't feeling good. I really was sick. I wasn't just getting out of school. I had like a flu, sore throat, runny nose. So it just, it wasn't my day for ghosts. And I was young. I didn't understand the paranormal. Now, if that happened to me, I would have all my cameras going. I'm like, all right, do it again. Do it again. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Would maybe try to communicate or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
love stories like that.
sometimes fear can stop us or we can block ourselves from going further with that communication. And one of my favorite sayings that I always say is the greatest curiosity can overcome the greatest fear. Meaning that sometimes one's curiosity, their wonder, the wanting to know is enough to go past that point of fearing something. Sometimes the need to know outweighs the fear of knowing it. And for me in the paranormal world, that is exactly how my mind operates. When something, what most people would call terrifying happens, I'm like, how does that happen? How is that happening? I'm intrigued. I want to know more. How is this even possible? I have to document this. Oh, I want to record this and show this to the world. This shouldn't be happening. That's my never is my thought, run, get out of here. No, no, no. It's how is this happening? I gotta record this. I need to understand this. I want to see more of it. So like absolutely my curiosity really destroys any sort of logical fear I should have
Yeah.
of, hey, maybe I should get out of here, but I'm too curious. I need to know. Regardless of what's happening, I need to know.
Man, I want to say one more thing before we wrap it up for today. All these crazy things we talked about today, all these paranormal encounters and spirits trying to communicate and we trying to communicate with them. We call it phenomena today. We call it strange. We call it, yeah, different and spooky and scary. Back then, long time ago, it was
Yeah.
completely normal.
Yeah,
Think about the
absolutely.
shamans that, yeah, got in contact with the spirits.
Yeah.
They
And
meditated and it was completely normal to get in contact and talk to the spirits and ask them, what should I do? What should I do here? What should I do there? It was completely normal.
mhm.
People, back then's people, they would laugh at us today, the way we talk about these things.
Yeah, it would be equivalent to like you being afraid of your grandparents.
Yeah,
Like, and like I said, I'm Abenaki, Native American, and my great grandfather was the chief of the tribe. My red hair comes from my native grandmother, and the women on that side, including my grandmother, they all had abilities and gifts and things of this nature. And it's not just like Native American cultures, South American and even go into Germanic cultures, the ancient people of Europe, the Druids in England, Mesopotamia, the Egyptians, the ancient Hindu, the ancient Chinese, like you said, all these ancient tribes, the Aboriginals in Australia, they all had this belief. When you saw these ancient tribal people all the way around the world, when they're doing their dances and they're playing music and they're wearing costumes, right? They're wearing the clothes that their ancestors wore. They are dancing and singing and speaking the same vibration and frequency as their ancestors before. It's that connectivity. Like I said, we have this whole army of ancestors behind us. And like what you're saying, if we went back then and we're saying, oh, these spooky ghosts and spirits, and they would laugh at us. We're like, yeah, of course, duh, that's how it's always been. But as you know, as well as I, we have been made to forget on purpose. It's deliberate. And there's a whole bunch of reasons of why that would happen, but I don't think it's good. And I think we as human beings, we have to realize that we are pretty special. We are unique. I don't like the word special. We are unique. And that we have abilities that we don't understand yet. All of us. None of us are masters. None of us are perfect. But I do believe there are ways, like you said with the binaural beats, and you had that outer body experience. I do believe there are ways to get closer to expanding and to getting to know these things. And I believe some people that exist are able to do these things, at different levels and degrees. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying. That's why I'm trying to communicate with the other side. And I feel like every time something amazing happens, I feel like I'm a little closer to knowing what's going on even though I don't have any clue of what's going on. That's what drives me forward to keep trying to figure it out. Are our ancestors with us? Are energy imprints left behind on a place? Are there interdimensional happenings going on around us at all times, at all places, at everyone's home, all at once, everywhere's, everything, all at once? Boom. And I like just trying to tap into that, explore it, and document it. And I feel like each time I get a little closer to trying to figure it out. And that's what paranormal investigations is all about, you know?
Agreed. And with that being said, I'd say let's wrap it up for today. I had a lot of fun talking to you. It was great.
Absolutely,
And
Daniel.
I am
You
sure
the
we meet
man.
again for another talk
Yep.
and see what's going on then. And before we wrap it up, let people know where they can find you online.
Oh, yes. So Paranormal Unearthed on YouTube. That's where the main investigations go. I'm also on Facebook. My name is Robert Orasi, but if you type Robert Earl White, it will still pop up. I had to change it, long story. You can find me on TikTok, Paranormal Unearthed. You can find me on a few other things as well, a few social medias, but the main thing's YouTube. My email is paranormalunearth777 at gmail.com. If you want to reach out that way, that's cool. And I'm also working with Jersey Unique Minds Paranormal Society, or what they call Jumps. They have their own YouTube, and on my Facebook and my Instagram and all that stuff. I have my personal accounts as well. You'll see me posting content, trailers, episode clips, all sorts of things. So if you find one, you can find all the other contacts and all that good thing. But for right now, the main thing is on the YouTube. So Paranormal Unearthed. I really appreciate if you check it out. Give us a subscribe and let me know what you think. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Please stay with me for 2 more minutes, okay?